First and Now is the official BC Lions podcast. Matt Baker, Nik Kowalski back for Winnipeg week. Last time this year for Winnipeg? Well, we shall see. Nicky, you caught your breath yet? What's going on? It was like the Beatles were outside at practice today.
It's only been, this is my third season, but I mean, every season's had a kind of a crazy, unique element to it, I would say. 2022 being the inaugural Nathan Rourke season, where there's all the confusion about the quarterback situation that got hashed out. Last year, Vernon Adams Jr. takes the team by storm. This year, VA takes the team by storm, gets hurt. And now who's back? The one and only Nathan Rourke.
Yes, and we will hit on that off the top because obviously it is the news of the day, news of the week, and a lot happening. TSN is doing something they've never done. Farhan Lalji told me they're adding a 30-minute pregame show to Sunday. There was no pregame show planned. Now they're doing it. So
good.
Just when, it should be a pregame show all the time. But obviously, there's other programming going on in the country and what have you. But yeah, my ninth year with the team. Fourth year in comms, and I'll just say this, that was a learning experience for me today.
Yeah, like there was been nothing like that, right?
5 cameras.
At least.
5 cameras.
I think about 8 if you count photographers. Yeah. Maybe double digits because David Z was there if you want to count Steven.
Yeah, we don't
person.
count David Z.
Well, he was there.
Just kidding, Dave. We love David. He was there.
So double digits.
So we'll go 10 cameras, 2 print writers.
Dozens of fans.
Oh, dozens of fans. They were lined up on the fence toward the opposite,
screaming
toward
for
the baseball
autographs.
park.
It's such a good day and good week to have all this going on. But it provides a lot of work, right?
Yeah. It's our first home game in 5 weeks was going to be busy, but this will just...
Yeah, I mean, Bombers Lions could be the lead, but now it's...
Yeah.
It's like a second, third story now.
So, and we should say it, now that we have one practice under our belts, Nathan Rourke looked pretty good. I was not able to watch the whole practice because I was running around taking requests, making sure everything was set up, but I think he completed his first team session. I don't think he had an incompletion.
No.
What was your tally, what you saw through the lens?
I wasn't counting it, but the one takeaway I had, I'll leave the player anonymous, but Nathan Rourke's first throw was a read option, and he completed it, and a defensive player's on the sideline, his jaw pretty much dropped and said, "How is that so smooth?" That's the way Nathan threw it and the whip he had, and he kind of threw it across his body. And I kind of looked toward him and I was like, yeah, you just watched Nathan Rourke for the first time. Because I've had that feeling too. I've told it on the record before about going out to North Vancouver in 2022 and kind of saying, Nick, relax. Like, you've never seen a pro quarterback this close. They're all like this. Spoiler, they're not all like this. And that's what makes Nathan so special. That's what makes a guy like Vernon so special. I've said this too. Outside of Nathan and Vernon, I really don't think there's been that. They've been kind of the standard for the CFL and quarterback play. I know it's going to be maybe considered a hot take, but at least from what I've seen through my lens these last 3 seasons, it's been Nathan and Vernon, and there's been a gap, but now we have both of them. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and look, some people will knock the kid because he didn't get much playing time, but here's the bottom line: looking at him and how committed he's been to fitness and what have you, this guy
loves football too.
Yeah, this guy looks ready and determined, and have to focus on a couple layers to it here. It's bittersweet in a sense because Vernon Adams Jr., at least a co-favorite for most outstanding player, along with perhaps Cody Fajardo. I know Bo Levi Mitchell has been leading the league in passing yards.
Hey,
but
Justin McInnes, throw him out there.
Justin McInnes, he's your Canadian, I would say.
1,700-yard pace still.
Yeah, still, despite being quiet for a couple of games.
Yeah, exactly. Here. That's still MLP level. But anyways.
So, Rick Campbell from the get-go has said this would not work if Vernon Adams Jr. wasn't willing to be a part of it. Vernon will not be traded this year, and we'll get to next year. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I did a hit with Hustler Patterson on Winnipeg Sports Talk earlier, and I basically said, you know what? 70th season for the Lions, Touchdown Pacific coming up. Grey Cup, yes, is in our home stadium, so you have to do what you can to get over this hump. But having the best quarterback room in the Canadian Football League, I think is something, whether you're on Rourke or VA's Team Rourke or Team VA, I don't even want to start suggesting people take sides, but no matter who you want starting, it's a pretty good position for this Lions to be in. Very much a win-win. We saw it in 2022, and ironically, the roles were reversed. Vernon Adams was the hired gun when Nathan Rourke went down with his foot injury, and when Nathan came back, Vernon was the ultimate teammate, the consummate professional, and that's something Lions fans should be excited for, I would say.
I'd say you've already witnessed it too. Like, we were out this morning at the wee hours of dawn with Nathan in the morning today, and VA was already at the facility. But he was controlling the aux. I could hear him singing, running out of Moonlight. What else? It was Country Day, but they're playing All the Lights. I could hear Vernon yelling that out today, working out. So he's definitely in good spirits, and that's what you expect from Vernon, right? It's something that he brings day in, day out to this team. And I mean, in the last 3 years, it's taken more than one quarterback. It's taken a team to even get to the opportunity to play in these West Finals, right? And it obviously hasn't got this team over the hump, and it's going to take everybody to get this team over the hump, whether that's Nathan Rourke, Vernon Adams Jr., hell, Chase Bryce plays a role too in the scouting factor and taking second team reps right now too.
He went 4 for 4 coming in for Jake Dolegala there.
So it's going to take everybody, and if you're a good teammate, you understand that, right? And there's no shortage of good teammates in this locker room, and I think We've talked about it for countless days, weeks, about how good of a teammate Vernon is, and we expect nothing less and expect him to contribute in however fashion, right? We can't predict the future. Who knows? Maybe Vernon Adams Jr. is the one leading this team to the Holy Grail at the end of the day. We'll find out, and that's part of the exciting journey that's been every year here. It's just been something flabbergasting, and This is the flabbergasting moment of the year.
Well, just think of all the quarterback transactions.
Michael Riley was the quarterback when I joined.
Mike Riley, I mean, we made the Dane Evans trade too. That was a news that kind of sent some mini shockwaves around the league, because people didn't have BC as Dane Evans' destination, and when called upon, he was great, and he was a great guy to deal with, and so. Opening hours of free agency, Dolegala and Prukop, right? And both not here anymore. Lions announcing today that Jake Dolegala was released less than 3 days after starting, but that's the way of the business, and we wish Jake all the best. Great guy to deal with. Just no other way around it.
Lots of good laughs with Jake, so wishing him the best, yeah.
Brennan Armstrong, the quarterback signed to the practice roster just over a week ago, was also released. Believe he's going to pursue baseball. He was a base. That
lefty.
That was the word from Tyler Gammon. He was a 3-sport star in college at Virginia and NC State. So he's going to pursue baseball is the word on the street. So yeah, Nathan Rourke and Chase Bryce, Vernon Adams likely to stay on the roster this week in a non-dressing capacity, but. We've kicked it around, a brilliant roundtable discussion with Giulio Caravetta on our On Tap show. Subscribe to the Lions Radio Network podcast feed every Tuesday night, 10 o'clock on 980 CKNW is where you catch our radio show. But you had some final thoughts from what was a rather disappointing loss in Edmonton Sunday. We're going to hear from Harp Pandher in a few moments, play-by-play voice for Lions Radio Punjabi, but let's close the book on Edmonton quickly.
Yeah, I think you got to mention off the top the run game on both sides, right? That's what stood out to me initially is William Stanback on that first drive. They made an emphasis to run the ball, and it ends in a David Mackey touchdown. Then Edmonton on the flip side goes for 200, right? And I know the coaching staff, the brass, they talked about the tackling woes. Moj definitely had a field day watching the film, as he said yesterday on Tap. But
he showed us a few,
which is it's going to happen.
It's good,
right?
But it's good for him to have
to work
on
now with the 3-game skid. That's kind of at least, I mean, maybe one positive now. And I know the guys aren't thinking this because they're not fixated on the social media aspect that we have to live in naturally. But this 3-game losing skid is, at least, I think it's a big negative, obviously. But with all the positive news this week, it's kind of eliminating that, which is a nice kind of bonus if you're looking for wins there. But one other aspect too is, remember we were talking about, I was saying the Elks last week in the red zone, they were by far the best team in the league, and it wasn't just a Trey Ford thing. It was all season. They go 3 of 4 again in the red zone. So that's a killer. Obviously, those 2 touchdown drives in the fourth quarter, the only points in the fourth quarter, but it was a 19-16 game going into the fourth, right? It was right there.
That roughing the kicker penalty was the backbreaker.
It hurt, right? And it's Julio Falanico in his first CFL game. He knows he made a mistake, but hopefully he can learn from it, and
Rick Campbell, and Rick Campbell's even said second down is the difference. So there were a few second and longs that Edmonton converted, and credit to the Elks. They've become a desperate team, and hey, they're all of a sudden in this. They're what now? 4 points behind Calgary for third in the Western Division. If the Lions can take care of business against the Bombers and Edmonton gets it done in Hamilton, they just keep inching closer. Calgary, Ottawa, Thursday night football this week. We'll go around the league after we talk to Harp, a little go for it or punt ahead. And we'll take a couple minutes here just kind of to talk about the stakes against the Bombers. These two teams playing the rubber match, 3 games with Winnipeg before the 10-game mark or even comes. It's funny, at the start of the year, if you were told again the Lions would split in Winnipeg and have a chance to have the season series with this big a lead in the standings, I think you would have jumped at it. But still, something's going to stick in their craw just from the way that loss at Princess Auto Stadium went down. I know we talked about it at length last week. The stakes here are huge, Nick. You pretty much have a 9-point cushion on the Bombers with the tiebreaker if you get it done, and I expect Nathan Rourke's presence to cause an uptick in ticket sales. It has already. The upper bowl we already knew was going to be open, so hopefully the Lions can use that home field advantage. Undefeated at home this year. It's going to be a fun one Sunday.
Well, hell, it reminds me of the October 6th game last year, right? And it was a tiebreaker. It was at the time for first place, and although it's August, I think it's fair to say that this game plays a long way, or will go a long way in determining who has an inside track to getting first place in the West Division. So whether this game's played in August or October, like you said, it's a high magnitude game. Season series is a chance to right or wrong too. Not even just the August loss, but going back to last season, the Lions had a 10 double-digit lead in the fourth quarter at home to Winnipeg, and ultimately lost that game in overtime, right?
26-16,
and
right?
You hope that you can take those learning lessons, right? There were a couple plays that I know a couple players would want back in that loss, right? And you're hoping that you take those lessons, benefit from them, get Nathan Rourke in a groove, rely on Will Stanback. Another aspect I'm looking, it's going to be a problem, but the Lions are going to have to contain this, is it looks like Kenny Lawler is returning for the Bombers. One of, if not the best receivers in the CFL, right? He's been a headache for pretty much every single team, but expect I obviously don't know the game plan or anything like that, or if we did, we would not reveal it, but the West Final last year, I felt like this got so overshadowed because I found it so unique in the CFL. Gary Peters just straight up shadowed Kenny Lawler in that game. And that's a testament to both Kenny and Gary, the high skill level they bring on each side. And if that's a battle again, at number 1 on BC and 89 on Winnipeg, I mean, get your popcorn ready for that one, right?
Absolutely. Lawler's he's got 2 200-yard games against the Lions. One came in week 9, I believe it was last year, the blowout loss, the second time back there, and another one, 2021 at BC Place in October.
That was on my birthday, yeah.
Yeah, that was funny story about that one. I'll tell you when we're not recording.
Gotcha.
It's not for podcast talk, but you'll like it. Remind me to tell you after. So, yeah, you're right. And it sounds like that's going to come at the expense of Lucky Whitehead, right? I saw Doug Brown posting on X, Bombers color analyst, a longtime defensive lineman in this league for Winnipeg. Port Moody boy, all-around good guy. So, again, Winnipeg's getting healthier, right? So, and we've talked about the struggles stopping the run. Well, now you got Brady Oliveira coming in once again. But hey, this Lions team is focused. They know these last couple of weeks aren't what they're all about. They're capable of much more, and they're closer to being the 5-1 team than one that's going to go into the tank here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
One last quick thing. It's a little different playing in the Den though. 3-0, undefeated at home still. Yeah. Got to keep that up. You know, you're saying upper deck's open, make it hard on Winnipeg, get loud. do all those things.
Visitors don't want that feeling in the den. Is that what you're saying? So
I mean, now they got to come to us, right?
Now they got to come to Vancouver.
All-time quote from Dom Davis last year that I loved using for marketing purposes.
Soundbite of the year. Yeah.
And like we said, there's a little bit of unfinished business to shore up those couple plays and should be off to the races.
All right, Moj and Julio, the call on 980 CKNW, Lions Audio Network, pregame at 3. The call on Lions Radio Punjabi, Shere Punjab, AM 600, Harp Pandher and Takdir Tyndall. Harp is going to join us, talk about his path to being a broadcaster, the response so far to having the Punjabi games. Harp is coming up. And we now head to Drumheller, Alberta. We'll explain in a minute. Our great pleasure to bring into First and Now for the first time a voice of the Lions on Lions Radio Punjabi, Shere Punjab, AM 600. It's Harp Pandher joining us here. And Harp, heck of a week in the den. You picked a heck of a time to be away.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me, and congrats on your guys' 100 episodes. And I think this is 102, or is it 103?
Something like that.
102.
Yeah. We're calling it 102, not counting some of the special bonuses in there. But yeah, it's always good. It's great to have a platform to talk Lions football as you're learning. So we appreciate that. And you're enjoying some family time in Drumheller, seeing some dinosaur bones. What's going on?
That's right. I'm learning about our ancestors here in Drumheller. So just a bit of a road trip as we got back together on that charter on Sunday night. Monday morning, woke up and we were on the road. So we just thought we'd get a quick road trip in before the kids go back to school. And obviously we got the game on Sunday. So I woke up to the news Monday morning. I was in Golden, BC. And it was funny. My daughter has a Nathan Rourke that she wears as a nightie. It's kind of too small for me, but too big for her. And, it's the last thing I see. And then the next thing you know, we're waking up to the news.
Yes. And, very exciting and a whirlwind type of day, I would say. And obviously you've hit on it a bit here, but just your general thoughts on the Lions bringing in the 2022 Most Outstanding Canadian.
Well, I was chatting with a few of the guys over the weekend in Edmonton, and we got the news there on Sunday that he'd been released from the Falcons. And the synopsis was that he would eventually come, but not that quick. I was hearing it'd be more of early October if he would have come back to the CFL and to the Lions. And we obviously knew that the Lions were the preferred destination. It's home to him. So I was caught off guard when I saw it. I didn't expect it to be that quick.
Yeah, likewise, yeah. Harp. I was definitely caught off guard too with the timing of it, like you said. But I mean, what does it say in your mind that it's a 3-year deal? That's maybe on top of the timing of this announcement, that the length of the announcement maybe was the most shocking thing to me, but that just tells you that Nathan's bought in and wants to be a Lion longer term, right?
I think it's great getting 3 years. We hear of 2 years all the time. Getting 3 years is awesome. He's 26 years old. I'm not surprised the fact that he's the highest paid athlete in the league. He's deserving of it. He proved what he could do in the 2022 season. So it's very exciting. And you can just hear the buzz. Well, obviously I'm not in BC right now, but just on social media, everyone's pretty pumped that he's coming back.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny tie-in to last week. We kind of witnessed the whole Canadian quarterback hoorah in Edmonton, right, with Trey Ford. And now, I mean, we had a taste of it in 2022, but we know how impactful that can be for not even BC, but the entire CFL, right? Like having Nathan back, it's important for everybody, not just the Lions, right?
Yeah, there's a few different components to this. One is the timing of it. The Lions are on a three game skid. You're losing, and there wasn't really confidence in the backup, so to speak. I mean, it seemed like at the last game in Edmonton, Jake Dolegala, he gets going in that first drive, and it's like, okay, yeah, they're going to put up some points today, and that ended up being the only major of the game. And then Chase Bryce comes in at the tail end of the game, and I'm thinking like, yeah, you know what, the 3 plays that he did were great, and then he gets smoked, and the ball turns loose, and it's like, okay, now we don't know who's going to start the next game, or that's what I'm thinking. So the timing of it is great. I think it's great for BC. It's great for the league. There's just so few Canadian-born quarterbacks that have played in this league, and look at the Trey Ford factor. How much how much more love he gets that he's Canadian. And I look at Vernon Adams. If he was Canadian born, he'd get, just increased love that much more.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree there. Just one more from me here before I go back to Baker, but you mentioned the 3-game skid. What do you think has to change? Like, what are you kind of zoning in on from this Lions team in order to get back into the win column? Is it as simple as Nathan, or is there more to it?
I think all three faucets or phases, they can improve, right? We saw a lot of missed tackles the last game, a lot of drop passes, like just simple stuff. And if they can just make those corrections and go back to basics, work on the fundamentals, I think they're going to be fine.
Harp, let's talk about your journey and what Lions Radio Punjabi has become. You and Takdir Tyndall, of course, did a couple of games last year. In fact, debuted in Edmonton, correct?
Actually, it was in Edmonton. It was
the
just
shutout win that
we did. That's right.
Yeah.
It was the shutout win, and it was the first one. We were approached by Shabazz Dillon, and he said, this is what we wanted to do. And, it was the first ever Punjabi Pro broadcast on radio or television. Obviously, it hasn't been on television, not yet. So it was historical in a sense that it's going to be the first time it's ever happened, NFL or CFL. And we got a pretty good buzz from the media last year. There was a lot of interviews and stuff I did going forward at that time. And then I did talk to Dwayne, and I met him in the press box in Edmonton last year. I'm like, hey, BC's next. We got to do a game for BC Place. So things didn't really happen that quick. I thought we would have done a game last year, but we got talking in the off season, and we're getting a full season, which is great. Edmonton's only doing the home games. Calgary just did a one-off game for their Heritage Night, but BC is the only one that's doing Punjabi home and road.
Yeah, and we're very proud to do it. And just overall, what's been the reaction so far? Obviously, it's a very good and important demographic of Lions fans. Safe to say it's been well received, right?
Yeah, I would say so. There's a lot of older fans that have been in BC for a while, and Lions and Canucks were neck and neck. I can even say that the Lions were, they were 86. If we think about it, they had a higher attendance than the Canucks did in 1986. And that's only having 9 home games. So Lions have been a staple in BC for a while. So it's twofold for us. We want to get those old Punjabi fans back watching the game. And then there's the newer Canadians that are coming in that, probably don't speak much English or don't speak English at all. And we want to introduce this beautiful game that we have of Canadian football.
You, of course, have experience with Hockey Night in Canada, Punjabi broadcast. And we all know what a staple that has become on the hockey broadcasting circuit. But what's the background beyond that? Was broadcasting something you studied, something you pursued, something you always wanted to do? How'd that come about for you?
When I was approached for the Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi, it was based out of Calgary before that. And it was moving over to Vancouver, the studio. At that time, the Rogers media had bought the NHL rights for Canada with a big 12-year deal. So they're moving it over to the Sportsnet Omni station, which is based at 180 West 2nd. It's the old UTV, we're basically at the old Sports Page studio where it used to be. And
current City TV studio too, right? Yeah.
Yes, today it's City TV as well.
Mm-hmm.
Omni, it's all under Rogers. So I was approached by the producer, and he asked me if I'd be interested. And I'm like, I got no experience, but I'll audition. So the audition went well, and we didn't know whether it was going to be a go almost 2 weeks before the season started. So lo and behold, I thought it would have been maybe a 1-year thing with the way radio stuff works and cuts and all that. But here we are. I've just completed 10 years, and it's still going. We haven't got the word yet. We don't get the official word until 2 weeks before the season that the sponsors are ready to go. So it's been a good ride. So prior to that, I had no experience. All my experience that I have is just the past 10 years of Hockey Night Punjabi.
Do you ever get nervous during that audition back then, or even calling games these days? Do you ever have to deal with that, or is it kind of just second nature at this point for you, or how does that all work?
I think back to it, how nerve-wracking it is. And even say the season rolls around in October, I'm going to have nerves again. It's all repetition. I feel like after off season, it takes a few games to get going, just like an athlete. You have the whole season off. You got to get some game reps going to feel confident and feel good. So other than that, I do feel like it's second nature now, whereas before it used to be, a lot more, it's harder to do this or overthinking stuff. You guys are in this. You guys do a great job, and you guys probably know how it was for you guys, your first few broadcasts, and how you guys are doing now.
Yeah, I'd say there's a little more pressure though when you're broadcasting as the play-by-play person though, right? But with that said too, I'll go to the kind of the flip side of that. Is there a moment or two that stick out for you in terms of like, you look back at it and you were proud of it, whether it's something you did yourself or maybe an interaction you've had with a new fan that recognized you, or what comes to mind when it comes to being proud of what you do?
One of the highlights, it's not a individual achievement, it's a team achievement. Harnaran Singh was on the call, and he did this Bonino call that went viral. And that year, 2016, there was no Canadian NHL teams that had made the playoffs. So, I guess Sportsnet or whoever, they're looking for news. And I think that kind of helped our cause too, just looking for some Canadian content. So, but the thing is, it went viral in Pittsburgh. It got so big that everyone knew the call. The players knew about it. And when they won the cup, we got to be with them with their cup celebration. So that was really cool, because media doesn't really get to do that kind of stuff. And all we saw was just friends and fam, and then there was us. So Pittsburgh treated us first class. We were in the building, took pictures with the players, with the cup, the Prince of Wales trophy, the Conn Smythe trophy right there in the dressing room, seeing all the players before they went onto the ice to get their official pictures. And plus we were on stage at the parade. So that's definitely one of the highlights. Other than that, anytime I go into the community and somebody recognizes me and somebody says, you're doing a good job, it's a good feeling, right? It's just like, okay, I did something good in my life.
Well spoken. Hey, funny story about that Bonino famous call. Training camp. There was a couple nights, training camp late at night, just winding down after long days at work. We hang out in one of our dorm rooms, and we fell down a couple of epic playoff overtime goal rabbit holes.
Yes.
And one of these nights, I think it was after Game 7 of the Canucks and the Oilers, I was kind of feeling down, and let's just watch some more. And we watched that Bonino call a few times, but we went back to like 2003, 2004, basically every playoff overtime goal that there was. There's like these compilations on YouTube. So that's how we filled some time in Kamloops, right, Nick?
No, that's right. The running joke too, and I'll preface this to any Lions fans listening, is I would always play the Buck Pierce highlights from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, because I'm an advocate that Buck Pierce was, I guess he played for the Lions too, but when Buck Pierce was healthy, he was
Grey
electric.
Cup ring, 06.
So the kind of the running joke was we would start with the Buck Pierce highlights and then go into the NHL highlights. But
that's right.
It speaks to it though that you mentioned how important that moment is, right? That call makes those lists, right? Like that's kind of what you dream of as a play-by-play person, right? Is to get on those iconic moments, right?
Yeah. I mean, for us as media, we can't approach players and say, hey, can I take a picture of you, or can I have your autograph? We got to remain professional and whatnot. But that was like, it went kind of outside of the box for us, because they're just like, hey, we're inviting you guys here. You guys have fun with us. So to go and shake Mario Lemieux's hand and get a picture with him, I mean, it's stuff that you just dream of as a kid. So that's definitely one of the highlights. And you know what, for football so far, I think the highlight so far is that weekend I had with you guys in Edmonton, just to see what you guys do behind the scenes. You guys, I know you guys bust your butts, but just seeing everything from, hey, we're taking off right now, to landing, it takes a lot of work and a lot of organization. But the only regret is that the Lions didn't get that win over the weekend.
The end of the day, we're all storytellers, and yeah, you're right. From the time we board the WestJet plane, land, get to the hotel, that's a story. It's a full-on story, and yeah, have to get back in that win column. And before we let you go and let you get back to your family vacation, well-earned family vacation, digging for dinosaurs, a quick thought on Sunday. Nathan Rourke aside, this is a big one, Harp. Tiebreaker game with the Blue Bombers, a chance to get back on track and at least stay in second place, depending on what Saskatchewan does. Just your excitement level for the Lions and Bombers here Sunday.
it's a huge game. Final game out of the 3-game set. Obviously, it's the tiebreaker with BC winning the first one, Blue Bombers winning the second one. You lose this one, you're 5-5, and you've definitely let the Bombers back in. I'd say Bombers would be in the lead, and just going beyond that, I know it's one game at a time. That's the motto that the team rolls with. But the schedule is not getting easier. You got Ottawa back to back. You got the Eastern teams like Montreal. You haven't played them yet, so you got 2 games against them. So every game is going to be crucial. The West is wide open, and it's surprising because you think back to when they were 5-1. You think that, oh yeah, they got this cushion now. They should be easily locking the West and getting that bye, but that's not the situation. So I expect a huge game, and I expect the Blue Bombers to be hungry. It's going to be a great crowd. Fred Penner at halftime. Kids will have a blast too with the fan fest. So I expect a really good game, but I expect Nathan Rourke not to be on fire from the get-go. I mean, he's throwing a CFL ball. He's throwing different patterns, different routes. So, but I am glad that he is starting over, obviously Jake got released today, and over Chase Bryce, because I don't think Vernon Adams is ready to go yet.
Yeah, probably be a similar situation with VA being on the roster technically, but strictly an emergency basis. And yeah, feels like a playoff game in mid-August. Nothing wrong with that. And it's a pleasure to have you stop by, Harp. And we'll look forward to doing this again. And was different not having you around at On Tap on Tuesday, but we held down the fort okay. So have a good one, my friend.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Have a good week.
Adios.
Awesome. Enjoy the trip, Harp.
Thank you.
Excellent stuff with Harp Pandher and the Punjabi broadcast. Excellent initiative, reaching a great demographic of fans. And we spent some time with good old Harp and Tack in Edmonton. We saw a gold medal. Ivan Halinka Gretzky Cup, Canada beating Czechia. That was a cool event, Rogers Place. And we'll talk more
I
about
like just
that.
getting into Rogers Place. It was half open.
Yeah.
But we had some good seats, courtesy of none other than Michael Whittingham. But it was a good time there. I've never been in that arena. Gold medal game, like you said. Yeah, some young kids. What are they, like 07s or something like that playing right now? It's crazy to me. So I'm sorry to even bring that up to you. But
oh no, it's fine.
It was good. It was a good time. Yeah, and always a pleasure spending time with Harp. It's been nice getting to know him and having him on the road for that game last week.
2007 was a fun year for me. It was. So
see, I remember everything about 2007. So I'm at that stage now
were
too.
You in grade 1?
No, I would have been in like grade 4, grade 5.
There you go.
I remember the Ducks beat the Senators in the Cup. That's a lot.
That, by the way, maybe I'll punt this, but no, we'll do go for it or punt in a minute. That was the worst Stanley Cup playoffs ever.
I was a kid and I bandwagon Ottawa, so I still enjoyed it.
Canucks Dallas games seven. Other than a 4 overtime game 1, just dreadful hockey. That was the only series all playoffs to go 7 games, and it was awful.
That's brutal. That's not what you want.
The Stanley Cup final. It was cool having Ottawa in there, but. Anyway, that was a minor detour, but great stuff with Harp, and got to get back to a Rogers Place at some point. All right, Week 11 in the Canadian Football League. Obviously, we are talking a lot of Lions Bombers on Sunday, but the action begins on Thursday with Calgary hosting Ottawa. Stampeders can't lose at home, can't win on the road. 4-0 versus 0-5, 4-5 on the year. The Red Blacks back at it after that crazy tie with the Riders. It's all for me, Nikki. What Jake Mayer are we going to see for a Calgary team that has been a little Jekyll and Hyde this year, like we were saying?
I'm the opposite. I'm looking at Ottawa's quarterbacks because what is Jeremiah Mazzoli going to do?
Right. I guess we kind of buried the lead there. Jeremiah getting his first start.
I'm fired up about Jeremiah, and obviously it's been terrible to see the injuries he's had to recover from, and it's awesome to see that he has recovered and persevered through all of that, because when he was in his prime, he was an electric quarterback, right? I remember during when Hamilton was kind of making their run against Winnipeg those past couple of Grey Cups. Hamilton was a better team in the regular season, and a lot of it had to do with Mazzoli. So if Ottawa get that Mazzoli for them. And Ottawa and Calgary always play wacky games too. I know Ottawa's coming off a tie that unfortunately ruined our tiebreaker with Saskatchewan that we had the leg up on. But
Just got to finish with one more point. No big deal. Yeah.
It would have helped if we had that. It was 15 points though. But the 5-2-1 Red Blacks, to see how they do in Ottawa. I mean, in Calgary, where, like you said, undefeated at home. So it's hard to come out west.
And watch, if you watch the pregame show, you will see Nathan Rourke join the TSN panel via FaceTime.
Is that like what VA did that one week with Kate Burness?
Watermelon Smash week. And then they came out with the wigs because he had his long hair then. So
yeah. Well, I remember VA was saying he didn't realize at the time that it was going to be live on broadcast on national television. So,
well, I told him that.
Maybe he just
forgot.
Mind, but that's why he was wearing his hair like that. He wears his hair like that at some practice sometimes, though. I like it. He's a versatile hairstyle. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Haven't seen the last of VA this season. I'm saying that right now.
Of course not.
Yeah, both quarterbacks are going to play a role, and we love that. All right, Montreal at Saskatchewan. If Lions Bombers is game of the week, this one is a real close second. Cody Fajardo on track to make his return to Saskatchewan, and I love this. A place where he was basically run out of town. He's going back there as the reigning Grey Cup champion. Looking at the injury reports, Trevor Harris has missed a lot of time. He's full and available on the injury report, so looks like a pretty intriguing quarterback matchup here on Friday Night Football.
Yeah, it looks like Trevor's going to get AJ Ouellette back in the backfield too.
That's right.
So that's a big add. Montreal's missing Tyson Philpott in this game, so that's going to hurt them obviously. But it's a big one for the Alouettes, right? They're on that 8-1 start. If they can go to 9-1 here and take care of Sask on the road, that'd be massive. And not only getting that huge leg up in the East Division like we saw with Toronto last year, but it's these teams are considered contenders for a reason. So it's always fun when they go head to head. I know we got Montreal coming up in the looming weeks and been counting on those too, because those are always fun and you want to play the best like we are this week and in Montreal in a couple weeks. So get a taste of it on Friday, and we'll get to see those teams later down the road too.
It's kind of funny how it's like the same. Toronto 2022 Grey Cup upset over Winnipeg, and then they just explode the final year, go 17-1, and Montreal pulls off the upset, and now they're on pace to win 16. Or Toronto was 16-2 last year. Yeah, my bad. And kind of funny how it's been the same situation with
West
Montreal.
Too. BC Calgary and then BC Winnipeg. Same situation. It's been a lot of weird parallels.
Speaking of parallels, Edmonton and Hamilton Saturday in Steeltown. Both teams are 2-7, but it kind of seems like these teams are going in opposite directions. The Elks, I'm not sure. What does Edmonton's injury report there say about Trey Ford? He practicing?
He was day-to-day with ribs, I believe, is what the diagnosis was.
So we shall see something to monitor. Chest, yeah. Something to monitor throughout the week. But the Ticats got to be getting desperate here, and they're going to Taylor Powell.
Yeah, quarterback change. So we'll see what that does for Hamilton. Bolivia Mitchell was having a pretty hell of a season, leading the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns. But obviously, a 2-7 record warrants for a change if you wish. So it's going to be an interesting one, and it could be Macbeth. And we saw Macbeth last week. He's obviously serviceable. He always has been serviceable. So
talking about a good solid option coming off the bench, right?
Yeah. So that should be an interesting one too. It's one of those where who knows where this game's going to go, and that's what you love about watching those ones.
Saturday, 4:00, and then of course the main event, heavyweight battle. We'll still call it a heavyweight battle, even though they're not necessarily fighting for first place this week. But 3-6 Winnipeg at 5-4 Lions. It's our Fan Fest game. Adult tickets for $25, kids 17 and under for $15. Fred Penner playing at halftime. Backyard party out on the plaza will feature spray tattoos, a balloon artist. Hey, I took Bo Lacumbo and Carolyn Cody to Global BC this morning, and Cody had some samplings from the balloon artist. I don't know if you saw the photo
on our Instagram story. So, if you want to go check out the balloons are on the Lions Instagram story.
The nice lion balloon.
It's cool.
And everything. So that'll be on hand. Get yourself some balloons. Disney princesses. Super Mario is going to be going around Terry Fox Plaza.
I like the Driven Project. That's cool.
Driven Project.
Supercars. It was pretty. I don't see those a lot back in Manitoba, so it was cool to see him last year in Vancouver.
Yeah, our owner Amar Doman playing a role in that once again, giving chances for sick kids to drive to the game as a co-pilot in in a supercar, and yeah, a lot happening, and the only thing that could make it perfect is getting a win.
Big
All
dub.
right, big dub. 3 o'clock, Moj and Julio pregame, 980 CKNW. Harp and Tack on Lions Radio Punjabi, 3:30 pregame. All right, going for it and punting. I'll start, hit on this. My real first chance to really take in the vibe of the Edmonton Ice District. Rogers Place, Saturday night again. We saw Canada win gold at the Hlinka Gretzky. And you and I had been to an Oilers training camp practice last year, but nothing really going on outside. And hey, compared to an Oilers playoff game, it paled in comparison. But I just love the whole setup there. You have the moss pit outside. The arena is outstanding. Huge layout inside the arena. And for a playoff game, that would certainly be the place to be. I love everything about that ice district in Edmonton.
Yeah, and the rooftop patio we hit up after the game, that was a lot of fun. There's batting cages we were hanging out with, and it kind of goes into my go for it because at the rooftop patio we were at after you guys departed for to meet up with the BC Lions gang, the brass out at another establishment, I stayed behind because there were a couple of content creators, Erica Perot, one of our freelancers, but also Juan Morales was there, and Juan Morales is a big deal. And for those who don't know him, he's a NHL, pretty much their go-to guy for content, video. They travel him everywhere. So all the really cool cinematic Stanley Cup final footage you saw from Edmonton and Florida, that was probably Juan Morales. And he was shooting.
So he's based in Edmonton? Or is
he's based in Toronto.
Okay.
So the league actually brought him out to Edmonton to shoot this game on Sunday. So I got to meet Juan on Saturday. But it wasn't just him. I mean, like every time we go on the road, myself, Liam Thompson, Stephen Chang are out there. So I think that's an all-star lineup right there of content creators. But there was Erica, there was Juan Morales, Chase Woodsky from Edmonton does
Chase
a lot of work.
Brace, I thought you were going to say.
Chase Woodsky. He does a lot of work for the Oilers.
Yeah.
He was out there. Paul Swanson, another Oilers freelance worker, was out there. Just like A+ top tier content creator. So Juan's posted some of his stuff on his Instagram and Twitter. It's pretty crazy the stuff he did he pulled off in Commonwealth on Sunday. So I was just going for the lineup, the all-star lineup of content creators out there at the game.
Yeah.
It was exciting to me. And then Brent Steven, Richard Bagan out in Edmonton too. They're top tier. So all across the board, man, it was
been it is awesome to see everyone in their elements. And again, unfortunately, it came on a game night that wasn't good for us. But yeah, I'm with you too on that patio, the Ice House, Canadian Ice House. Buffalo chicken sandwich. Remember, I kept changing my mind on the menu, but I made the right choice. That was a good buffalo chicken sandwich. And yeah, all right. You want to punt?
You go for the punt first.
Here's what I have no time for, and I get that it creates good discussion and good banter, what have you. But can we do without all these amateur capologists on social media?
Cap Friendly's gone.
But no, I'm talking about these people, and it's one or two markets I'm talking about. You can figure out which ones.
Okay.
People that don't understand how the Lions afford
Nathan Rourke. I know where you're going, yeah.
So
yeah, leave that to professionals, right?
People know what they're doing, folks. So, and then everyone thinks the marketing money thing is not within the rules. Like, shut up. Anyway,
it's allowed, yeah, and we definitely get our fair share of.
Other teams do it too. So
look at all the content we produce with all these guys. So
yeah,
we fulfill those needs, right? There's a minimum, I know, for the marketing money, so we definitely hit that just based off all the stuff you see that our players do for our wonderful sponsors and all of that stuff too, right? So yeah, of course, I'm with you there.
You're up.
Punting. I mean, we just talked about the Ice District and how great it was, but I mentioned this earlier, how Rogers was half open, the stadium. We had two options for food. I remember I was starving too, because we got that 12:30 flight, so you leave at like 9 a.m. so you have breakfast, but then you kind of miss lunch because you're in the air and it's a quick flight, and then you get to the hotel and we had to go to the game. So I'm starving. And there was two options total pretty much at the stadium, right, for vendors, and I was just disappointed by that.
Fried chicken.
So I thought Yeah, well, that was one, and then
there was a pizza one, right?
A pizza place, yeah, and I was just.
They should have had pizza in Rogers Place.
I just needed chicken tenders. That's what all I was craving, and I guess beggars can't be choosers in this instance. But I was
no white spot in Edmonton, but that would have done fine.
Yeah, like anything,
Tim
like
Hortons,
a chicken, a nice chicken sandwich, like that would have been nice. But so
notice how I'm naming all our partners. Yeah.
This is me just being complaining about first.
It's a first world problem.
You
yeah,
took the words of my mouth.
We survived. We went to the ice house. We had a great. Trevor bought us nachos. Trevor Martins, our radio engineer. Well, technically, Mike Whittingham bought it.
Yeah, I got Coors Light.
Those are good nachos.
I had a couple Coors Lights at the game, so enjoyed those, and we're off to the races then too. But
we still got to get our case of Hop Valleys for this year.
Yeah, I was wearing my hat on Monday actually.
I noticed that on
Hop Valley. Yeah,
brand ambassador Nicholas Kowalski.
And I got the monogram hat. This is my go-to hat. The little monogram parallel.
Yeah,
I think this is parallel, right? Yeah, 47 brand.
For those watching, for those listening, we apologize.
As well. By the way, if you don't believe this Nathan Rourke stuff's a big deal, go look at the numbers on our YouTube. I think.
Well, the initial announcement I put out there, what's that at?
I had
you
it.
got the screenshot right there on your computer.
I had it with quotes though. I think the quotes is what makes it remarkable. So it's at 1.2K likes on Twitter. The original announcement. By the way, that's my photo too. I'm pretty proud of that photo.
Oh, I forgot to credit you. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm kidding. But I think there's over 200 quotes just on our announcement alone. The CFL obviously put it out too. So, yeah, it's buzzing everywhere, coast to coast. It's been a fun journey this week.
And just to take some people behind the scenes, had to get this out quickly on Tuesday morning. Didn't really have much heads up, but that's fine. That's the nature of the business. So I'm scrambling to find a photo, and we have a good database, but it's a type of thing I want to pick a good game shot. And I thought, here he is with his award. We're mentioning the outstanding Canadian. So that one works perfect. So it worked out good that way. So
100%. Yeah, they got Carter has a nice graphic to follow, little hype video I repurposed, and Carter's media template. Look at that.
Yeah. I think I texted you like 5 minutes before it went out just saying, be ready or something.
I was already in the storm.
Yeah, there you go. All right, what a week. The only thing that's going to make this good is a win. Reminder, 4:00 Sunday. I'm looking forward to next week going to Ottawa. We missed Ottawa last year. Then it's Touchdown Pacific in Victoria. So enjoy it. We appreciate everyone listening and downloading as usual. And be sure to head to our YouTube channel. Catch all our Nathan Rourke content. Neil McAvoy, Rick Campbell doing lots of media this week. It's a big one. FamFest Sunday, proudly supported by World Vision. And Nikki will do it again next week.